It's your boy Laws in the building. We got Aaron. This is special edition, OSS special edition. I tried to watch it, Aaron. I tried. I literally, I was in the studio. I was in here. I had the game hooked up. I said, we playing Dallas. Washington, they should at least try to make the jump respectable, seeing that we got washed the last time. So I'm like, oh, the Bama's got washed. They're gonna come back. They're gonna try to play with a little more heart, be a little more scrappy out there. Come to find out, these Bama's was not prepared to play.
Are you
And
surprised?
I am surprised because I was told that we got a coach that's going to change the culture. We got a coach that's going to have the players ready to play and have their mindset right. And he's a coach that can get the best out of players. And when the situations is unfavorable, he can draw the most out of the players and get them to rally behind, the cause and all this stuff.
So
And
I got
and
a
and
question. When did he do that before? When did we see him do this?
so this is the thing. If you listen to any local radio station, they gonna refer to the 4 games where they played with heart and they squeaked out wins versus above average teams. Uh, that's what they gonna point to.
So 4 games is a track record. That's a resume. 4 games. Did he do it in Carolina?
Dog, I mean, we know, dog. The jig is up, dog. We done pulled the covers back and done seen the young and under the covers, dog. What is we doing? The thing that's frustrating to me because the main reason we doing this special edition is because as a someone who follows the local teams in this area, I watch everything that's going on with the media and all that type of stuff, and it I just find it puzzling. It's just puzzling to me that the media here in this town continues to put Dan Snyder as the culprit, as the main scapegoat for the deficiencies that we see from our team. And we got that 56 burger that was put on the Bama's that made us turn the game off last night. That's not Dan Snyder's fault. And that's why we here, because I'm bothered by that. It don't make sense to me. There's no responsibility or accountability putting on Taylor Heineke and how this Bama played like a Beltway League player, dog. I'm not. This is
Ron did
no
not
slight.
mention him in the post game press conference. He couldn't wait to slander Dwayne every time they got into a game that they lost, and he came to the presser and was trying to kind of pre-fuel the ability to take him out of the lineup and put who he wanted to put in, one of Scott's boys. And then why did they wait to the fourth quarter to take him out? And even beyond that, the only thing Ron did say was that he was protecting and preserving Taylor. It wasn't necessarily a benching, so don't expect Kyle to start next week. Like his loyalty to Taylor Heineke and Scott Turner and the nepotism and these losers is mind-boggling.
Mind boggling. I'm confused, Aaron. I'm confused because somehow it just keeps getting spun. Oh, it's Dan Snyder, it's culture. Dog, Dan Snyder. Let me just tell y'all fans out there. I don't want to call y'all any names. I
Stupid
just
or
want to
dumb.
talk. I just want to talk straight with you. Dan Snyder is no different than all the other owners in the league. They're all idiots. They all make bad decisions. The only separating factor is winning and losing. When you win, somehow, some way, they call you a winning franchise. They say your culture is good. Dog, we know the culture stinks all across the league. Dallas, they got a winning team. Why? Because they got good players that can play and they got above par coaching. It don't. If you get the right players, if you have a good GM, you can override bad ownership. You have a good coach, you can override bad owner. Good players, you can override bad ownership. I'm tired of hearing this excuse. Oh, it's Dan, dog. You can't change the ball. If you got the culture, blah blah. Dog, they doing the stuff that they doing to the women in the league, the cheerleaders. They doing that all over the league. So what is we talking about?
This is the thing, Harold. Like you said this might have been like 6, 7 years ago. You was like, people have a problem saying I don't know. And because these fans want to come across as knowledgeable, instead of saying I don't know, they point to what's regurgitated on on 980. It's got to be Dan. It's got to be Dan. This is going on when they have no clue what's going on in the other 31 cities with the other teams. They don't know what a winning football franchise looks like. We was kids basically when Washington was winning. Bama's wasn't analyzing draft picks and coaching style and play calling. So like these people are a bunch of people basically losers mentally who've been following teams that have been losing their entire life. And if you don't bet, or if you're not like obsessed with sports to where you're watching these things going on in other cities, these Bama's have no clue. And instead of saying, I don't even know what the problem is, they just regurgitate the same. Well, everybody else saying is Dan, it must be Dan. The owner, they got a crackhead owner in Indianapolis. They won 2 Super Bowls. The other owner in New England was getting his pipe sucked in Florida by a prostitution ring. Like, stop.
This is what
Jerry
this
Jones
is
is the metal in this Bama in the league. Like the Bama in San Francisco was charging Bamas for Gatorades in the locker room. So just stop. Like they have no clue what ownership does.
that's
They
what
have
I'm
no
saying.
clue.
And yet it's always, oh, it's Dan, dog. We can't, dog. And it's the thing. The media saying, everybody says it, dog, but nobody really knows what it takes. Like
They don't know. They're all
seven,
losers.
7 for 22 for 121 yards, 1 touchdown, and 2 INTs is not going to cut it. You cannot win with that. I
If
don't care
Dwayne
who
did
your
that,
owner is
what
or
would we
who
be
your
talking
coach.
about? If Dwayne did that, what would we be talking about here?
You know what we be talking about. You know what the narrative would be.
Because last year they wanted to pretend like he was the thing holding the franchise back, and just getting him out of here was just going to propel everything to the next level. In a garbage division that they won under 500, everybody wanted to put deodorant on everything and act like it was a new story going on here. Like Ron had done the job, fixed the culture, and everything was back to normal. But they're losers. And if you celebrated a 7-9 division win, you're a loser. You didn't understand that you were setting the franchise farther back by winning that division last year. Instead of being bad, you're a loser. And that's just
So
what it is, though.
can we go into the fact that they don't even know how to utilize draft picks.
They don't.
They don't know
Or
how to analyze talent. Why do we have I mean, one flaw you could say about Dan is that I mean,
he hires
he between
losers as
he
coaches.
hires losers, though. He hires losers, and he was put between a rock and a hard place because everybody sold him that this guy Ron Rivera, he's the culture guy and integrity and all that stuff. Integrity, all that stuff is for the birds, dog. It don't mean nothing if you're a loser. Batman, you don't hear nothing about integrity and culture and none of that stuff when Batman's win. It
Doesn't
baffles
matter.
me that it doesn't matter. None of that matters. Dog, you pick the right Bammers who cook, nobody cares.
Or you can coach up less talented players, but Ron can do neither. And he has control over both because he's hiring who the GM is. They got rid of Kyle Smith and brought in Ron's guys, Mark Mayhew and the other
Yeah,
Bama that was the news
Herney.
reporter down in Carolina. And like I don't like he was a loser in Carolina. He did never won back-to-back seasons over 500. Like Bama is a loser. Outside of that MVP Cam year where they went 15-1, the Bama has a losing record though for his NFL career, for his Carolina career. So I don't understand how somehow this Bama just gets anointed as Bill Belichick to come and fix these issues when he couldn't fix them in Carolina.
I'm trying to figure out why Taylor Heineke is being treated like he's Aaron Rodgers when this Bama is not better than me. And that's a fact on my mother. He not better than me.
Because he's not Dwayne Haskins.
Dog, this Bama scurry. I can run around and scurry and get my head pummeled and throw up tackle footballs up in the air for Bama to pick off. This Bama has no arm strength. He can't even throw down the field. First pass on the play, he gets the jump picked off because he has no arm strength. The Bama is just all he is a above average athlete who scramble around and occasionally gets the ball to the receivers, dog. But he doesn't know what he's doing. And the fact that the people in this town continue to coddle him and protect him. I don't know what's going on with that. It doesn't make sense to me. The
Have you heard
numbers
about going
tell
through
me.
reads? I haven't heard about going through reads this year. Staying in the pocket this year. I haven't heard none of the same things that they like to throw out when there's certain other guys behind the center.
No, Kyle Allen came in for a fourth of the plays, and his numbers is better than Taylor Heineke, and Taylor Heineke played the whole game.
And it's magic. All of a sudden, it looked like things worked, like they had a functional football team. But Ron's nepotism and loyalty to this BS that they got going on over there, he's willing to, like, because he feels like, because he had cancer last year, like he got a pass that it seems like he feels like he can do whatever he wants, and he knows he's not going to get canned this year.
This is going beyond. This is going beyond a bad culture. The thing that's bad about the culture is the fact that Ron Rivera has all this autonomy to do whatever he wants unchecked. And he doesn't know what he's doing.
This is what they wanted. The problem was Dan. Remember, they just want Dan to back off and be hands off and just let the coach and GM take over. This is going on exactly right now.
So now we got a guy who's clearly like, you have a fight on your sideline. You go into the press conference and say you didn't know nothing about it until after the game. Are you kidding me? Look at
two defensive linemen, college teammates as well. Oh, well, Allen in particular was very vocal about their performance last week when they were really shredded by that Philadelphia ground game. So that's what happens when you're on the way to a possible third straight loss. Got to try to calm them down.
Want to see that, especially amongst guys that are going to be in the same exact room. And I've seen a lot of things on the sideline, and I have no idea what was said, but I have never seen a teammate like that, with Jonathan Allen taking a swing. And Ron Payne, don't know what he said, don't know what Jonathan Allen said.
Dog, first of all, Chris Collinsworth, you blowing me, dog, because you sicing, dog. I've never seen a guy take a swing. Shut up, dog. Batman's probably tried to swing on you. You're sorry too. So I don't. Dog,
if you've been around any group of men,
that's what.
Punch has been thrown. Period.
Dog,
so stop.
If you're playing any competitive sports and you care, Batman's is gonna get heated, dog. First of all, anybody put their finger on my temple like that,
you gotta swing.
You gotta swing. It's mandatory, dog. You know the drill, dog. Sons in full. You cannot put your finger on the Bama forehead and think you just gonna go, especially in a heated battle, and they getting washed, dog. They getting the backs blown out on national TV. And so, what you expect them to do? It like, to me, this jump, the fact that Ron has no. Jack Del Rio's name ain't even mentioned. Dog, you're the defensive head, you're the defensive coordinator, and you don't have no like, what is going, the fact that these Bammers are just being absolved of any kind of responsibility or accountability, when if it was we know the narrative, if it was somebody
Tomlin
else
or somebody else.
But dog, this is unacceptable. You have dissension on your team and you know nothing about it after the game, and then talk about, I talked to them and they're like, well, what happened? And you're just like, I'm not going to discuss what went down with my play. Like, what are you talking about, Ron? What are you talking about? You are an embarrassment. The first embarrassment is the fact that you got 50 burgered on
by your supposed
TV
rival.
And then that's the thing. Back in the day, Washington football fans, they would be pissed. Dog, Bammers would be running in the street, burning jerseys, all types of stuff after a loss like this to the Dallas Cowboys. This was so embarrassing, dog. And we ain't hear nothing about Del Rio name didn't even come up. This Bama skating off into the sunset. Half the reason why these Bammers are beefing on the sideline is because the coaching don't got a scheme drawn up that's effective and work.
This is facts on either side of the ball.
Aaron, you know how I go. Dog, if you get out the joint and then you just basically you trying to do whatever you can do, Bama's in those situations have decided they just going rogue. They not following the game plan. They just going to try to do whatever they can do to just get production. That's
Right.
what Bama's have decided at that point, because that's the only way you get frustrated. Because what happens is you got Bama's on the team. Some Bama's is trying to stay with the scheme and do everything the coach saying, and then some Bama's is like, dog, they don't know what they talking about, dog. So we not doing that.
I'm about to get my numbers.
How I'm going to get pressure? And then you got a Bama bounce outside, and then you not playing containment, and you just like, dog. And
He
you
left
like,
his
dog,
gap.
what
Right.
is you doing, dog? You're supposed to be like, you know what ensues next.
You already know. You already know. Because they
You
play
get
right next to each
bammed
other
on.
on the D line. They both D tackles. And so, when one Bama leaves his gap, the other Bama is going to be the one on tape going to that gap looking like he the one getting cooked. Or, you know what I mean? Like, they both take responsibility when it's a long run. Anything like that happens on the D line, especially with Montez Sweat. He's coming back now for the second week, but Chase Young is out. So it's Joe Blow basically on the D line other than them two Bamas. So when he like, I'm about to go try to get a sack, forget this gap integrity, and just leave, Payne is getting pissed, like, come on, dog, like, what is you doing? But then you bring it up and put your finger on the man's face, then he go try to take your head off. So, no, it's toxic as hell over there. And
And
Ron has
21
no
skunk.
control.
You got the 21 skunk on the Game Boy, the Game Genie, and you can't even like all these things coupled together is just bad. And the person who's at fault is not being held accountable. Ron Rivera is Jack Del Rio. These are the people who are supposed to be held accountable for this. And they're not being held accountable. Everybody in this town walking on eggshells. I don't know why, being all nice and cordial and not calling it for what it is. And I would say it to his face too,
It's the
dog.
cancer, dog. It's the cancer. I
Dog,
believe it's the cancer, dog.
listen.
We mentioned this last year when it happened. We said, because I was off the ship after 4 or 5 games. I knew this Bama was a fraud. So when the Bama popped up with the cancer joint, Bama was like, he got an invincibility cloak, dog, for at least 3 years, 3-4 years.
Dog, as much as I'm trying to, dog. First of all, you know me, Aaron, personally. I care about people, dog. I care about the livelihood of people. I care about things outside of sports and all of that. Like, I just genuinely care. And I care about the fact that the Bama had cancer. He was nip and tuck. Bama was touch and go. Everything was kind of dicey. Health concerns and all that. Blah, blah, blah. All that's cool. But just because that does not, like, if the Bama is sick, he shouldn't be coaching football.
He shouldn't be coaching. Like the Colts head coach. I can't remember it's two brothers in the league. I can't remember what his name was. He took a hiatus, and Bruce Arians coached for that time period. So, like,
if you're not
can't be criticized, if you can't do the job fully and take the brunt of what comes with the job, then step away.
It's that simple. It's that simple. And nobody's saying that. Is Bama scared to say it?
It's a couple of things in this country that's real touchy, and cancer's one of them. He got military and cancer on his invincibility
and
cloak.
MAGA.
And MAGA. So they're gonna protect him. Especially the men. The white men are going to protect him, and that's the majority of the media.
Dog, it just doesn't make any sense to me. This Bama Tomlin, he'll win every year. And these Bama talking about, after this year, I think he done because they're going to let him go. Like, what is you talking about?
Oh, guess who just popped up live now? Your man, Ronald Rivera. You might as well go ahead and stream that joint.
Where he at? Live where?
He live on the press conference. I'm about to send it to you.
Send me the link, dog. We'll go live. We'll pull it up and see what he got to say. Cause I got it. I want to hear an explanation of this.
I just sent it.
Put it in the put it on here on the private chat.
Can I get it? Let me see.
Yeah. We're gonna see if we can see what this man talking about, dog. Cause this is ridiculous, bro.
Excuses.
Bunch of excuses. And fans and people going, dog, you could. It's the culture. It's the culture.
The head coach is the culture. It's no way around it.
They told me this Bama was going to change the culture. What you talking about? They told me he was the answer. Shit, man. This dude, silly. Yeah, man. You working on it?
Yeah, I'm trying to get the link over to the computer now.
I just, man, same old song. But I refuse to just like make Dan a scapegoat every time, dog. I refuse to do it. See if we can pull this up here.
Click 20 for videos and let TikTok sync them.
That's your jump. You pause your jump. Nah, let's see here. See if we get sound on this jump here. It's only 16 seconds.
Hold on, let me see what's.
You see live with Coach Ron Rivera. Let me see if I can go to the news feed.
How you respond to it, how you bounce back, how you play. That tells more about who you are.
No, that's from the game. They shut down the lives off the break. What's going on?
That's important. You know, that I felt bad yesterday, but I'm feeling great now. You know, I don't want coughing. I don't have a runny nose or sore throat. I don't have a fever anymore. You know, how come I can't? Well, you got to follow the rules. I mean.
All right, let me see. I just sent another link.
Yeah. See here what this dude gotta say. Let's go here. See if we can get this working. Okay.
Them all back. That was tough.
All right.
And then how do you balance when you have this situation and you, after the Philly game, you talked about not wanting to use things as an excuse. How do you balance, explaining that versus not wanting to sound like that?
Well, you're going to sound like that no matter how I try not to. I mean, but, it's like when you hear somebody rant about the way they play. Okay. They quit. They didn't want to, play. No, that's bullshit. Okay. Those guys wanted to play. Those guys did everything they could to get back. Okay. They got up at 5 a.m. and came here and tested before 6 o'clock. So their specimens can get sent up to the lab and checked. Okay. That tells me those guys want to play. That tells me those guys want to be there. Guys wanted to come in and do extra and they weren't able to. Okay. And we told them, hey, we got to do this virtually. When as soon as you get a chance, get in here. And the guys were coming as soon as they could. They were doing their workouts. They were getting in some extra time with their coaches. Whatever they could do, they were trying to do and give themselves a chance. Like last week's a great example. We played on Tuesday. Okay. We get back at 2 a.m. and there's really not much you can do with the guys because the coach had a game plan on Wednesday. So we practiced Thursday and Friday. Then we had Christmas on Saturday and then traveled to play. I mean, those were the circumstances. And we try to do the best we can. And I thought the guys really tried, and I have no issue with what happened other than we got beat the way we did. I thought the guys showed up. I thought the guys tried. And unfortunately, it didn't work our way.
Ron, you said that you watched the game tape. What were your thoughts on Taylor's performance?
I thought Taylor missed some opportunities. He got a little bit rattled and started throwing off his back leg a couple times. He had a couple opportunities that I know that if he could have, really stood tall.
The Baba been throwing off his back leg the whole season.
All season.
First throw was unfortunate because he had Terry. If he could have put that out to the sideline, I think Terry makes that play. I think that's a big play. Unfortunately, he hung it out, and it stayed more to the middle. I mean, if that ball gets to the sideline, it's either a big catch for Terry or it's incomplete.
He can't get it there.
Now watch the tape. You have any other thoughts about possibly making a change at quarterback? And if not, why?
No, I think, again, will we play Kyle? Probably. But we're going to stick with Taylor right now. But will we play Kyle? Probably. And not an indictment of Taylor or anything like that, but just that, we also want to make sure we get a really good look at Kyle.
What is
Kyle? Would that be a relief role, or would that possibly be starting one of these last two?
What does that mean?
We'll see.
He loved Taylor. That's what that
right
means.
now. We're going to start. We'll start Taylor against Philadelphia, and we'll see.
To go back to DeShazer for a second, is there a chance he rejoins you guys, even if it's just for practices and meetings here for the next couple of weeks?
No, it's without getting into the detail, but one of his injuries that he has does not allow for it.
Sure. And then with what happened with Jonathan and Duran, you seem to be taking a very hands-off approach on that. Can you just talk about how your philosophy on that and choosing to kind of let them sort that out for themselves?
Well, it's part of it. And I don't know if you heard what I said yesterday, but I talked to both of them afterwards and had an individual conversation, and I'll talk with them again. But for the most part, these guys have known each other for 8 years. They played together collegiately, they played together professionally. And there's a lot of pride, and there was a lot of frustration yesterday, and things do tend to boil over. I've been part of this before as a player. I've seen it happen on the sidelines. As a coach, as a position coach, I saw it happen. Saw it happen in Philadelphia. I saw it happen in Chicago as a coordinator. Saw it happen in San Diego as a coordinator. And then I had it happen to me a couple of times in Carolina. I had it happen between two of our defensive linemen, Charles Johnson and Greg Hardy. I saw it happen between Cam Newton and Josh Norman. And it's something that, guys tend to work out amongst themselves, without having to be told. One of the things that I really appreciated when I was in Carolina, I had players come to me and tell me, we got this. You don't need to address it. So I didn't. In this case, I went to the two guys just because who they are. And it happened so early, to be honest. Usually something like this happens in a few more years, but this happened early. So I went and talked to them both, just so they both understand, where they are, who they are, and what they mean to us as football players.
And could you expand on that last point of just it normally happens a few more years? Why do you think it kind of happened now, or what do you think it says about those guys that it did?
Good question.
Well, because when you're here together, you compete, and you build that up, and then it continues. And after a while, the competing, really just brings out the real, true competitiveness of who they are. Maybe I should have expected, because they've been playing together for as long as they have. So, but my point just being is that when guys are around each other for a long time, they expect certain things from each other, and they challenge each other a little bit, and sometimes it gets a little bit out of hand.
Who's challenging you?
And you've guided this group. Sorry, Ben. Just like
okay.
If you've guided this group through a lot of off the field stuff, even in your first year. Is it harder to navigate a team when it translates to the field? In a fashion like it did last night, or how does it kind of affect once it? Yeah.
No, the biggest thing more than anything else is the guys have to understand that this has to be something that that has to you have to set aside. Sure, it happened during a game, but it happened because of the passion of the game. It happened because of
it happened because y'all was getting waxed.
I'd rather see them frustrated. I'd rather see them passionate about playing the game than okay, yeah, whatever, and then move on. I think that's probably, to a degree, a good thing. But you really don't want it to be like that, from what I understand.
Ron, along those lines, like late last season when you guys were winning and you clinched the division, you talked a lot about kind of the longer term benefits of winning and players seeing what it takes to get there. On the flip side, do you have to worry about what losing does long term, or what these frustrations can boil over into?
Well, that's probably the big part of it. I mean, and again, that comes all the way back to what I said to you guys earlier about maturity, is learning how to deal and cope with it. And as I said, the biggest thing from one of the questions I got asked earlier is, are you worried about losing the way we did? I am, but to me, the more important thing is how we respond. You know what I'm saying, Nikki? I mean, if we don't learn from it, if we don't understand exactly what it means and all that stuff, then it's a wasted time. It's like winning. Winning hides a lot of things. Winning masks a lot of things.
So are y'all gonna beat the Eagles next week?
And you have to really pay attention then to figure it out. But losing, it's right in your face. So if you don't learn from it, if it doesn't stand out to you, then you've really wasted that opportunity. And so to me, there's a lot of things that are evident. When I put the tape on, you watch it, you look at it, granted, we got some new guys out there, some guys in different positions. But some of the things that were really good, you sit there and go, man, God, we just put that together. And then things that were really bad, we can't be it. We got to be better at that. We got to be more disciplined at that. Or you know what? I should have called that. That's what we should have done in that instance. So it's a chance to learn and grow. Yeah, I mean, these are the hard knocks, and I'm gonna still align from a league of their own. It's hard, but that's what makes it great, is that it's hard. And I think that's the thing that we all have to understand. The hardest is the development, the growth, taking your lumps. You're gonna get dragged through the gravel once in a while if you fight, but again, you dust yourself off, do you get up, and then you go after them. That's what our mentality has to be. And that's why, to me, Nikki, to your point on Wednesday, that's exactly what's coming out. I mean, it's going to be a challenge, and it's going to be a challenge to them. It's going to be a challenge to us and how we handle ourselves, and quite honestly, it'll also be a great opportunity to evaluate our mental toughness individually and as collectively as a team, just to see how we respond. There's a sliver of hope, and we'll see if that's enough to get everybody motivated to play. And it's going to tell me a lot about who we are and who we have.
Ron, to that end, you only have, it's one thing after week 8, you have half the season to go to try to get the guys back on track. You only have 2 weeks left here. How important is it to hustle such that this is not the narrative or the mindset going into the offseason?
Well, you can set the tone for the offseason too, though. You know what I'm saying? I mean, so yeah, we have to look at it as that are we playing for the future? Absolutely. What's that future? Don't know. Don't know what that future is, but we're playing for the future. And you have to play one at a time, first and foremost. You have to focus.
He doesn't have a clue.
Philadelphia, see what happens, and then worry about the next game. But until we finish this week, until we finish on Sunday, we have no idea what's in store. But we do know that
he's weaseled his way with cliches.
Hey, Ron,
you mentioned a couple times
Ron,
yesterday.
when you get to this point in the season, you've had a couple games like you have, and then last night's game where people now start to question, hey, what's the direction of everything? Do you sit there and analyze like that at this time to say, was this just a bad game, or was this a bad direction we're going down?
No, this is a bad game. This ain't a direction. I'll tell you that right now. Okay, you look at the way we played the previous 2 games, and in our circumstances, and you would say, hell, that's a hell of an effort. Or at least I would like to believe somebody would look at it and say that was a hell of an effort. But what happened
56
last
points
night, that was disappointing.
Is a bad direction. Teams,
could we have played better? I think so. Could we have done things better? Yeah, I think so. But
teams get beat
that way, so
and lose.
Thank you. You spoke a couple of times last night about not having the pieces. I wonder, do you see that as a specific, unique circumstance with the COVID and injuries, or do you see that, or would you like to see more from maybe other parts of the team?
No, I think that has a little bit to do with the certain circumstances we've had. I mean, we didn't have JD, we don't have Logan, We don't have John Bostic. You know, we're playing our fourth center. You know, I mean, so, but nothing disparaging to those guys that are playing.
There was no missed snaps last night.
It's, you know, JD's an impact player. Logan's an impact player. You know, John Bostic is a calming presence on that defense. I mean, you look for those things. I mean, we didn't have Cole Holcomb either. You know, although I thought David Mayo played pretty doggone well. You know, so there's a lot of good things that, you know, that I take from the guys that played, but think to myself, wow, you know, it would have been cool to be able to have this guy, that guy, especially this game. I thought the same thing the first time we played them. You know, we played our
Come on, man.
seventh,
Come
and
on,
defensive
man.
ends. So
every
but
team
that's
has
the
to
nature
deal
of the
with
game.
that.
And you mentioned a lot of guys there on offense. How do you evaluate the offense when you've had so much inconsistency? What goes into that evaluation for you?
Well, I think you know you look at it to me, you look at from a global perspective. What does this mean for us going forward as well? You know, one thing that we talk about is positional flex and depth. That I think is what's real important. You know, you want to build your offensive defensive lines, in my opinion. You want to be able to have quality depth so that if you ever do get into a situation like we've got into, you can feel as if you have pieces still there that allow you to continue to function and compete. You know, big players, physical players, athletic players, all rolled into one on your offensive defensive line, give you a chance to be competitive.
Time for a couple more.
Ron, I know you've over the years, you've probably won a lot of games like last night, and you've probably lost a few like last night as well. But I wonder, what do you kind of lean in on when you have a result like last night to kind of eliminate the recency of the performance and not think, oh God, maybe I just got this wrong about this group or this, you know, the way we've done things this year, to say this was just a bad night as opposed to there's something here that maybe we need to look at again?
Well, I think, honestly, David, I think it gives me a little clarity for both. You know, how's our approach? What's our approach got to be? You look at them and you say, you know what, we got to be able to match this, and this of who they are. You know, and not having specific people on the field that really amplified it.
These reporters
Because
ask
we
some
couldn't
dumb
match certain
questions,
things.
though.
So that helps us in terms of giving us some.
I can't take no more, dog.
Softball.
I can't. Dog, is he sliding 50s under the table to these Bammers, dog, asking these dumb questions? That's not what people want to hear. That's not the questions that you should be asking, or should the media should be asking him.
After a loss like that, it's no way. It's no way. But it gives you more of it just illustrates the situation that they're in. When the same thing with Jay. When Jay was a terrible ass coach the last 2-3 years, the media was all piling up to him and buddy playing golf with him and all that stuff. So it's like, if they like a guy, they protect him until it's time for him to go, or until the writing's on the wall. But they're going to protect their guys. And that's why you need more diversity in different groups in this media circle, because once you get a guy that's in your circle, they protect them every time. And the guys that tend to get the head coaching jobs here in DC in the NFC East are always in that same circle. It's just how it is, though.
Oh, and that is problematic, and actually is even a greater threat to success, if anything.
Then the owner.
Not being able to be accountable, not being able to properly scrutinize and vet situations without a level of you know, what is it? What would you say? Like pacifying them to try to like make things go smooth. And it just
they asked Bill Belichick harder questions and he got 6 Super Bowl rings. It's just it like they think we get on the media extra tough here, and it's not for no reason though. We've been paying attention long before we started doing this stuff to what was going on, and that's why we started doing this, because there seems to be a gap when it comes to accountability for certain people versus others, and the only thing we can find that's the difference is You know what it is.
You already know. You already know.
The
And
guys
people,
that
but you know, Aaron, you know, there's people going, dog, y'all stay race baiting, dog. No, everything's not about race. Why you keep saying you think it's just because you always say the protection for the complexion, but how you dog? He's not even white, dog. He's
he
American Indian.
identifies
He's
his circle and his D coordinator is MAGA and got no discipline as well. That's the first illustration that this season was going to be off the rails. No discipline. He feels free to say all of this stuff because why? Would you feel comfortable saying all that stuff if you didn't feel like you had a guy that was employing you that was on your side? That would create an environment where you felt like it was okay to say that kind of stuff? As a D coordinator who should have more responsibility as a 50-something-year-old man on Twitter? And so when he doesn't have discipline for the players and control of what's going on there, people act surprised. We talked about this months ago when we saw that. We said this Bama doesn't have any control. Everybody's just doing what they want to do. That doesn't look like leadership to me. So a guy can kiss ass in a press conference all he wants and use all these cliches and answer nothing.
that's all
Have
the
no
Bama do.
answers.
Cliches, dog.
And these dumbass fans just slurp it up, slurp it up, slurp it up. And it's just like
And it's no substance in it. It's not. It's no substance in it.
none. And they're not asking real questions, and it's a waste. Like,
It's a
why even
waste.
do
It's
this?
just it's
It's
a
a waste.
formality. It's a formality. Like it doesn't have any value. You bring him on here to ask him questions that he got these regurgitated, preconceived answers for. Nothing to really challenge him.
I don't think he's smart, though.
He's
Like
not.
after watching that, like so most we're not saying most football
I'm not
people
saying
are
he dumb.
rocket
I'm not
science.
saying he dumb.
I am.
I'm not saying he
I am.
dumb. You
I am.
think he
But
dumb?
just looking at the way he doesn't even understand some of the softballs that they're asking him. And like his reply, he just looks like he doesn't have a very high processing ability because he's not even understanding the softballs that they're trying to throw him, the alley oops. It's not just the no substance, just looking at the processing and the stuff he's saying. I don't think this Bama is high IQ at all, though. Like, and it might not even be a point of him being a snake in animosity. He really has no clue what's going on.
Dog. I've been in situations where Bama's on the sideline get heavy heated and stuff like that. Be about the Kirk fight, all that stuff. Somebody that's respected, they would go get and be like, hey, young, you gotta come over here. Like Bama Harold tripping, he about to wreck such and such. Like, come, respected voices, respected people, dog, command respect wherever. And people know when situations get kind of out of hand and they get those respected people and voices. You got what's my
Nobody on
man
the
over the
roster.
Houston Texans, the D coordinator for the Houston Texans. Over there, them Bama's be getting beat, whooped every week, and that locker room intact.
And
Lovey
one of the
Smith.
guys that was fighting is the team captain. So, like, is that who you go get? So they don't have those veterans,
They don't
those
even
leaders
have it in.
on this
They don't even
team.
have it in the coaches.
They don't.
Aaron.
And that's part of the reason why there's so much there's such a loss of direction and why it went off the rails. Like all the BS people kept feeding me last year when I said this is a bad idea, trying to win a division with a losing record and celebrating this. I said it's going to set the team back. No, this you need to win so players can see how to win, and you build off of that, and that's going to propel you ahead in the rebuild. It's BS. They didn't have anybody that could take what happened last year and even get them started on the wrong foot because they were ass in the beginning of the season. Before COVID kicked in and wiped out the roster, before injuries depleted the roster, they were ass this year. And so they go on a little 4-game winning streak, and everybody tries to jump right back to last year and ignore all the signs. But then when it goes wrong again, all of a sudden, Dan. It's just to completely take the blame off of the person at hand.
Ronnie.
How do you beat the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and then lose by 50-something to the Dallas Cowboys? And if you go look at the tape, it's very easy to explain why. But Ron doesn't know why. And that's the issue. Ron doesn't know why. I could explain it in 5 minutes why they're getting their ass whooped by the Cowboys the way they have versus have success against other teams. But nobody else in the city can figure it out. And the media definitely doesn't know because they're not asking the right questions. It would have taken me 3 minutes to get to the bottom of it. To see if Ron had the answers or not. But they don't know, and nobody knows.
None of the questions even revolve around football for real. They didn't say, it wasn't like, oh yeah, we saw y'all were in the cover 2 for most of the game. Is there a reason why y'all were in the base coverage for most of the game and y'all weren't like blitzing from the weak side? Like even analyzing the game plan, dog, the game plan that those coaches came up with, because everybody can talk about the players and we had COVID and we had random guys out there and this and that, right? The game plan that they put in place to be competitive in a game that was supposed to mean something
was a failure.
Talking about mental toughness. How do you when did mental toughness did it just start after this Dallas shellacking? You did not go into that game last night knowing that you needed to win that game?
Maybe the coaches weren't mentally tough and didn't help them put together the correct game plan, because you had a preview 2 weeks ago. You just played the damn team and saw how they terrorized Heineke, and how once he gets touched and he can't do all that improv Brett Favre stuff, that he's not effective. He can't be effective from the pocket. So when a team rushes him outside and doesn't allow him to get outside of them, he can't do anything. So it took you 3.5 quarters to figure that out? Is that what it took? As the head coach?
Halftime, you was getting mud-holed, but at halftime you were mud-holed. And you continue to get mud-holed after halftime.
And Dallas wasn't even trying in the second half. It was just whooping ass so bad that they just happened to get another 14 points. They had 42 in the first half, Harold. 42 points in the first half.
42 in the first half, though.
Landon Collins ain't out there. Chase Young ain't out there. Dan ain't out there. Whose fault is this? The defensive head coach who used to play linebacker in the league, or the D coordinator, MAGA man? Like, whose fault is it? None of the people who are responsible and who were there are getting
the media not even asking. That's the first question. Who's to blame for this? Like, who's to blame for this? There is,
or ask about specific plays. Like, you watch adults in other cities ask the simplest stuff that makes sense in football related, but here, though, the media here is completely different, and it's mind-boggling to me. Like, I don't know who set this little powwow up, like what the dynamics is and why it's like this, but it is what it is. And I don't know if he's going to the same people that are going to ask the same softball questions. If there are other people who, if you ask a question that they deem as, how dare you, that they just, he doesn't call on.
I'm sure they handpicked the people, dog. He
But
definitely handpicked the people.
Yeah.
You know he handpicked the people, dog, because anybody with eyes is going to, I'm asking, no media training, nothing. Dog, you got mud-hole 56 point. What are you telling your team today after getting shellacked by 56 points? What are you saying to them that's going to keep them engaged in playing football games? Because you're telling me that they wanted to play, but what I saw on tape says otherwise. And you know how I go, Aaron. It's either two scenarios, right? Right? You either just don't have the talent to win.
He brought everybody here that's there. Other than all of the Alabama and first round picks that he inherited, he brought everybody else there. The 2 quarterbacks there, he brought them there. The O coordinator there, he brought him there. The D coordinator, he brought him there. Every other gap position that they have on this team that they just brought up from Carolina, Ron brought him there. So I don't want to hear any of this crying about the players. I don't want to hear. The O-line played outstanding for most of the year. Better than the O-lines played here since John Jansen and Trey Johnson, dog. Like, I don't want to hear it. The O-line has outplayed any performance that anybody expected from them. You have receivers that you drafted. You have the running back that you converted from a receiver and drafted. You have your O coordinator, your system. People have been in your system. What's the excuse? Your tight end has super outplayed the expectation from a quarterback moving to tight end. Like, what's the excuse? What is the excuse? It's always the quarterback when it's somebody that they don't like. Dwayne was holding them back. Dwayne was holding them back. Dwayne is off the roster. Whose fault is it?
Heineke.
He can't hit wide open throws, wide open layups. I could throw left-handed. He can't hit.
He can't hit throws,
especially if he's in the pocket. He getting passes. How many times you have to see a pick six off a batted play from him being in the pocket because he's 5'11"? Like, it's ridiculous, though. How many times do you have to see this? But you want to talk about arm size, worrying about one sack given up from an old lineman if his arm is 1 inch short. This man was 5'11". He's got multiple pick sixes based off of passes getting batted down because he's too short, but they don't want to address that. Kyle Allen comes in and looks like he's not good, but he looks immediately like an NFL quarterback. But whatever that loyalty thing that Ron has going on with Scott Turner and this love affair with Heineke, it's got to be something else going on behind the scenes.
It's got to be
unacceptable for him to feel comfortable to say he's starting instead of saying we're going to look at practice and see. How the hell are you just going to roll out there and say just automatically this Bama's going to go in as the starter this week? After Dwayne never had a game like that. Go look at the numbers and pull it up. Show me the game.
Ever.
Show me the game.
First of all, there ain't a lot of quarterbacks in the league, Aaron, that had a game like that.
Off the sofa, we could go and play. If you say, look, I'm going to give you 15 throws, Aaron. Like, I could complete 5 of them.
Dog, put it on the Bible, dog. Listen, everything I love, Achilles right now, dog. In the code, you know my stats go down in the code. Under 50, my stats go down. Above 55, I'm cooking. But under 55, my stats go down. But even still,
I don't even have to know the playbook, Harold. If you tell me, look, if you throw 2 interceptions, it's fine. You only got 15 passes, 2 interceptions, we'll make excuses for you. Dog, stop. 5 for 15. And the bomb that he completed should have been picked off. It was a terrible throw.
It was a terrible decision. Terrible decision, terrible throw. He got
but Yami Brown saved his ass again. The same way
he been getting lucky.
McLaurin has been doing all year. And then the tight end.
He really got like 22 picks on the year. It's like 7 picks Bama's dropped this year.
This Bama got some type of MAGA halo over his head because he's the luckiest joker I ever seen when it comes to football. The luckiest.
Oh, and first of all, he getting an opportunity that nobody else. We saw, what's his name? Josh Johnson up Baltimore.
Cooking.
I don't know why we couldn't go with.
What color is he? That ain't wrong cup of tea. He had enough with Cam. He ain't going that route no more. He'd rather bring a Bama off the sofa that ain't played in 4 or 5 years than try another one of them out there and have to answer those kind of questions. Tyrod Taylor was a free agent. It's so many guys that was just floating around that they could have had their pick from. And this is what they chose. So I don't want to hear the excuses. They hand-selected these dudes. And they re-upped them in the offseason. 2 years, $8 million. I don't want to hear it. This their guy. This is their choice. They traded a 5th-round pick for Kyle Allen and refused to play him. How come nobody asked that question in the press conference? They keep kissing his ass. I'm going to run his ass out of town. They kissing his ass. I'm going to run him out of town.
You traded a 5th-round pick for a guy that you don't have confidence in playing?
We're going to put the cards on the table because I'm tired of this.
What is it about Kyle Allen, dog, that he don't want to see?
He loved him when he was coming in for Dwayne. But maybe he ain't posting enough MAGA tweets on Twitter. I don't know what it is.
Maybe
make it make sense. Make it make sense. He looked clearly better than the other dude.
Clearly.
The second he came into the game. The offense looked different the second he came into the game. And Dallas was already in prevent for the whole 3rd quarter. It still happened twice. So I don't want to hear the stat patty excuses because when he go get stat patty, y'all give him credit. When Kirk go get stat patty, y'all give him credit. So I don't want to hear it. Ron Rivera is a fraud, dog. He's a con artist.
He's a fraud, dog. He's a fraud. He's a fraud.
He's in over his head and he has no answers.
He
wasn't qualified to come fix this when he couldn't fix it in Carolina where they don't have half the issues that DC has. He was not, I don't know. See, this is where Dan comes in. Like, Dan loves dinosaurs, dog. Dan loves dinosaurs. You had Kyle Shanahan come through here. You had what's the boy genius and Sean McVay come through here.
Then he
You had
brought
LaFleur come through here, who's
what's
the
his
head
name
coach of
back.
Green Bay, and they just come in and go out of town. But he loves dinosaurs. He wants to go get the like the old way. Part of the problem is him being a Redskin fan. He think like the rest of them. He want to go back to the 80s and 90s. It ain't that way no more. You'd had 3 head coaches, dog. LaFleur they was in the NFC Championship game. McVay was in the Super Bowl, and then Kyle Shanahan as a coordinator was in the Super Bowl. But he's just fixed on these people who do things the old way, dog, and I don't get it. I don't get it. So he needs to take a hands-off approach to hiring a coach. Let Jason Wright hire the coach. We need to get Leftwich or Bieniemy up here, where we know it's going to be about football because there's no room.
They gonna be gone, dog. We not even. I mean, let's just
Jags
keep it all
get
the way.
Leftwich. It makes too much sense because he got the quarterback there. I'm going where Trevor Lawrence is, not coming where Taylor Heineke is. I don't care what else is around it. I don't care where I grew up. You mean I get to tie myself to Trevor Lawrence for the next 15 years? Hell yeah. No brainer. And I used to play there? No brainer.
No brainer. No
But
brainer.
y'all gonna try Ron Rivera out for another year of this BS. The same way with Jake Gruden. It doesn't take that long to figure it out. You just go because you want to pacify the fans and say you're not being trigger happy. You just gonna trot somebody out there that you know can't get it done, that you know doesn't know the answers for another 2-3 years.
Pride, dog. Pride.
Ron ain't gonna figure it out. It's never gonna change with him as the head coach. He's lost. He has no clue.
Yeah. I want to say that he's on the verge of losing the locker room.
It's lost.
But it's there, dog. You got Bama's on a nationally televised football game, wrecking.
Real punches, grown man punches too. If that joke would have landed flush, somebody would have had to get shot, dog, because that Bama would have went to sleep. If that joke would have landed flush, because he was getting up too, and he was rotating his wrist and everything, dog. He would have went to sleep if that joke would have landed flush.
Ron don't got answers, dog.
And he didn't even know about it till after the game.
He didn't even know about it, which tells me that let's just change the scenario, Aaron. Mike Tomlin,
Pittsburgh.
Mike Tomlin is coaching the game. His defense, they get the wrecking. Will he not know about it?
No way, because you know what the narrative would be? He doesn't have control of his team. He's not a leader, because that's what they do when black people are in charge of organizations or responsible for these kind of environments and don't know every minor thing that's going on. You got to know every girl that's in every player's room after midnight. They want you to know, expect you to know everything. You can't miss anything because the narrative becomes he's lost control. He doesn't have control. He's not a leader.
Yeah, he's a fraud, dog.
And the players like him because they can do whatever they want. So they're not going to say nothing bad about him.
He's a fraud.
He's a fraud.
That whole leadership, culture, all that is fraudulent. It's fraudulent. Dog, I know what leadership looks like. You know what it looks like. You've seen it before. That's not it. That's not it. And when he gets challenged, you see how he get a little snippy. He wasn't snippy today because they
talked to his ass.
They came bearing gifts.
Did you hear what B. Mitch said? He said they're gonna run your ass out of town if you don't watch how you talk to him after his press conference last night. So he must have sat down and drank some tea and was like, hold on, let me get it together.
I gotta come back. I gotta come back and make things right.
So they're like, come on, guys, and you know, like, stop.
That's the jump that gets me, dog. He's a
fraud.
fraud. Cause last night when the jump was in the heat, you saw how he was responding. Alabama couldn't take the heat.
You want to be asked real questions. How dare you?
Then today, this Bama done got a chance to get his hot cocoa. Oh yeah, I'll take her, him, and him. Yeah.
Okay. I guarantee you he reached out to that reporter last night that he got snarky with and apologized. I guarantee. or at least like Buddy like reached out to him like, hey, tried to explain himself like, it was a frustrating loss. I didn't mean, he did. He did.
But dog, the only person he need to be frustrated with is himself.
But
You
he's
went
not
out there
smart enough.
with the right game. You didn't have the right game plan. You let the Dallas Cowboys stomp a mud hole in your team on national TV. The game was not even close at all. From start to finish, we were looking like some trash. Taylor Heineke, trash. And all the people he want to blame, all the new players and stuff like that, they actually performed admirable in my opinion. It was the Bamas who been here and been around that looked like they wasn't engaged. Because new Bama's going to do whatever they can. They're going to die on the field if they have to.
And then when you look at the offensive game plan, you dealt with pressure 2 weeks ago. You don't go, I didn't see draws, I didn't see screens, I didn't see any of the things you do to mitigate that kind of pressure and having a sorry quarterback. They go bomb on the first play. When I just said 2 weeks ago they don't throw bombs because he don't have an arm, interception. I don't know if they listening to the show and trying to prove us wrong or what the hell is going on. But these dudes is idiots over there, dog. We just said this a week and a half ago.
No, it don't matter. You cannot. The Bama arm is on 56. You can't make it. It doesn't like.
You can't draw it up and expect it to be executed in a way if he just physically doesn't have the tools.
So again, we know that coaching is problematic. You got an offensive coordinator that's basically trying to fit a square peg into a round hole.
Like you gave up a 5th round pick for Kyle Allen. Help me understand what the issue is with putting him in the game. Are you scared to hurt Taylor's feelings? Is that where we are as an organization? You don't mind embarrassing a 1st round pick that was picked 15 just not even a year ago. So help me understand what the difference is and why you worried about
does he have
the
special
feelings.
ties or something like that to somebody? Like is he
That's what it
married
seems
to
like
is
to
he
me.
married to Scott Turner's like his sister or something?
That's
Like,
what it comes across like to me. Like there's some other connection. Because if you remember when
is he dating his sister or
when
somebody
Matt
in his
Brunell
plan?
was
Like,
here stinking it up and Patrick Ramsey was on the roster and we found out that like Mark Brunell and Joe Gibbs went to the same coach. So there's some other like tie
it gotta
where
be.
it's like me trying to bench you or something like that. Where like regardless of the situation we in, like
but that's the thing though. I would just come out and say it. Bama's letting you skate and do whatever you want anyway. I'd be like, look, we not benching such and such.
that's what he said yesterday.
Yeah,
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
That's what he said.
So
last night and today.
So logic tells me when the Bama done gone that far and just say he not benching Heineke under no circumstances, right? Logic tells me that there's some other connection there.
It's
even
one or two things.
Ron Rivera, like his daughter or somebody. Does Ron Rivera got daughters or something? Somebody messing with Heineke behind the closed doors, dog.
Either that or he made a promise that these rah-rah gung-ho type guys, if they make go out on a limb and make a like we're gonna ride you out the rest of the season. Some like one of those little rah-rah lifetime movie kind of promises where he feel like
I can't buy it though, Aaron. I can't buy
I'm just
that scenario all the way.
I'm trying
to
make sense to myself of what this could be. Because Ron is not the smartest guy. Like I'm already there.
But is he so sold on is he that kind of guy?
He's definitely one of those rah-rah linebacker. Like you got to think about what it takes to play the position of linebacker. Like what types of guys these are.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so like he probably overvalues loyalty.
We're gonna buy you a car at 16. Don't worry, you're gonna get a car.
He's just a certain kind of guy that I feel like he would be likely to, like when Fitzpatrick went down, he had some talk with this Bama. Like, and then you remember he made Ron not look like an idiot in that playoff game last year. Like, because he played well in that playoff game. He had the whole fan base sold until Bama saw him play this season and realized, oh, this dude's really ass. You know what I mean? It's smoke and mirrors. So I believe Ron had some conversation or has been having conversations with this dude to where he made him some type of promises or whatever the case may be, to where he's going to give him every opportunity there
We're going to take care of you.
Right. And don't forget he signed for next year too. So in Ron's mind, I think this is their guy until they either get a veteran or draft somebody. This is their
But this
guy.
is the thing. The thing that's problematic about that is that Aaron, we didn't have to look that long to say that this Bama has so many limitations that it's no way you can make him your guy.
But Ron has mental limitations. He's one of
You're
them
right.
guys that's like he thinks probably that you can will to success. Like he's one of those guys that say we don't look at 40 times. Look at the linebacker they drafted. And he played linebacker. So he's one of them guys that thinks you can will yourself to success. He doesn't. He also was, as a linebacker, he wasn't the biggest, the fastest, the
Just a
strongest.
work hard Bama. Work
There you
hard.
go. So you know what kind of relationship, because
so he no, and that makes perfect sense because Taylor Heineke is a work hard Bama.
he's the Ron Rivera of quarterbacks. So it's like,
So it's that connection that this guy is like me. He works hard. He
There it
stays
is.
up. He watches film all night long.
He sees
He
himself
does
in him.
everything he can.
He's
He
MAGA.
works out. He
He
works
loves the
hard. Like,
military.
everything that I told him to do, he tries to work hard on it. Blah blah. And then that overshadows the fact that the Bama is 5'11" and can't throw further than me.
And was on the couch for the last 4 or 5 years.
We
We played the same amount of NFL snaps the previous 3 years. So, and knowing, like, so Dan's not dumb. Dan's an asshole, but he's not dumb at all by a long shot. He's probably the smartest guy in that building over there. So he knows the same thing we know. He knows Ron doesn't have the answers now. He knows that there's not going to be a solution. The issue is, with all the allegations going on, for him, does it make more sense to just leave it alone?
First of all, you cannot. Yeah,
He would have fired his ass 15 years ago. This shit would have been over with.
Dog, he can't. He
can't do nothing
because Ron Rivera has the cancer, the everything. He's the integrity guy. At least he has that perception and all the above. And Dan has he's a snake. He's sneaky. He's doing different things, and
right.
He's like his reputation. And he doesn't want to like do anything else that would cause more and further damage to his reputation. So he basically has to be hands off and let this Bama single-handedly run into the franchise further into the ground, or at least until everybody else recognize these Bamas is dumb out here anyway. So it's going to take them 2-3 years for them to actually physically see
the same way with Jay. The same thing with Jay.
Dog. This is so ridiculous. The fact that we saw it last year,
5 games in, I was done. We can go back to the track record. I said fraud. 4 or 5 games in, he's a
this
fraud.
man is a fraud, dog. And now there's nothing we can do. You can't even fire him.
And you let him get his hand in too much stuff, so he knows about some email. It's a lot of stuff going on behind the scenes that he got his hand in that he shouldn't have his hand in. So, like, you literally got to wait the joint out. You got to wait it out. Because he's not going to resign, and he's not going to fire him. So Dan got to get his hand back in it, first of all. Like, I'm done with this new.
But how does he get his hand back in it without
I'm gonna tell you how.
stupid fans
He got
already blaming him, and he had his hands out?
If you're going to get the blame anyway, what you going to do? Tear it up.
I don't care.
I'm going to tear it up.
Yeah,
if I'm going to get the blame anyway, I'm going to get my money worth. So
That's
you
a
got to make
fact.
sure he fires his coordinators this year, both of them. And maybe he's one of them loyal guys who's going down his stake or down his sword and be like, I'm not firing my guy. You know what I mean? You're going to have to fire me. Because I feel like Dan already feels like Ron hoodwinked him.
He did.
And he doesn't like feeling like that.
He got fraud. He got frauded. He got frauded. But the thing is, he frauded us all. Aaron, let's just keep it all the way 100. You might be in the minority of minorities, though. Was not frauded a little bit. You didn't buy it. You said you was like,
I said I'm gonna give him a chance because he's Spanish.
You say that's what I'm saying. You always say I'm gonna give it a chance.
But I don't need to see much.
but you was the first one. You was the first one tugging on the rope, like, hey, Laws, I'm telling you, it ain't it, dog. And I was like, how you know so early? Like, come on, bro. It's too early. And then we saw the little handling, the mishandling of Haskins, and then we saw, this is the kicker. We saw the lies to the media.
Once you lie to
backtrack,
and I know how you lie. I can read you as a person all the way through to the bone gristle.
Hey, what?
Once you lie to me one time and I see how you lie and how you play off your lies, I know you to the bone. You can't ever hoodwink me again. It only takes once for me. You can't get me. And so I don't even mind the lie because all coaches lie. But I want to see how you lie and what you lie about and how you play your lies.
The Bama
He's not smart enough to lie.
He's not smart.
He one of them Bama's that if he cheat, he gonna get caught because he too dumb. Then there's niggas that cheat for their whole life, never get caught. You go to the funeral and you got brothers and sisters that you've never seen before. He's not one of those guys, Harold.
He's not smart enough, dog. And that's the part where I said, hold on, dog. You just said X, Y, and Z. And then that's when I started to move off the bandwagon. I said, hold on, champ. It ain't authentic. It ain't authentic.
He's a fraud.
And then the fraudulent behavior, it got masked in the fact that them Bamas was having success because the Bama rolled the dice when he let Haskins go. And the jump could have really you already know they had planned and was set to blame Dwayne Haskins for everything if it just went south from there.
This is a fact. But they got so lucky because the division was down. Dak was hurt. So they were still sorry at 7-9. They were under 500, but they won the division, which is basically deodorant and masked what was going on over there. And all the fans are so desperate. They so used to getting beat and not getting treated right. So as soon as a guy offers to take them to Roof Chris, all of a sudden they done found their person. God then put somebody in their life finally to save them from all of the ills that they've been through. Then 3 weeks later, it's no more Facebook posts. It's no more IG stories. Where the flowers at? You back to posting new beginnings.
And that's the thing. And it was coupled with the whole transition to the off season. Because you had them exceed expectations that people had. It transitioned to the off season, and then a little bit of hope started to brew in the people. We might got something. And then they took out to tell me, we're bringing Fitz. But I slandered the media heavy. But even some of the media was they had reservations around Fitz, though.
Right.
It was still
not saying he's great, but it's what signing him says about your internal perceptions of where you are as a team.
Mm-hmm.
That tells you, we're a quarterback away from taking that next step, which is not just making the playoffs, but winning a playoff game. We're just that quarterback away. The development is 3-4 years ahead of schedule. You were not. And the weakness, to me, isn't the players. It's the head coach. It's the D coordinator. It's the O coordinator. It's the GM. They don't have any depth, but the starters, I think, are above average if you look around the league. Quarterback is a gaping weakness. But outside of that, if you look at receiver, I like the receivers they had. Tight end, they've gotten, other than the injuries, they've gotten a hell of a lot more out of the position than they were expected to. D-line has been underwhelming. D-line has been underwhelming. But you have Jonathan Allen's played his ass off this year.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. He going
Ioannidis plays well all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Deron Payne has played well. Your D-ends haven't played well, but the other guys have played well. Your linebackers are ass. The linebacker you drafted included. But Holcomb has played better this year.
He played better.
In some of the games. For that 4-game winning streak.
Secondaries.
He's played great for that 4-game winning streak. Secondary is ass, but we knew that going in. They signed William Jackson and have him play zone when he's a man quarter. It's just that kind of stuff that they continue to do. And then you sign Curtis Samuel, who can't get on the field. So you're wasting Dan's money. You sign Fitz, can't get on the field, wasting Dan's money. How much of this stuff you think he's going to put up with?
Follow us at OSS 980, Other Side of Sports. We back tomorrow, dog. We back tomorrow. We ain't Mario. What's up, bro? We back tomorrow. This was a one-off show. We don't do this every week, but we had to talk about it, dog. I mean, we just the protection for the complexion, the ineptitude of Ron Rivera, and the team ineptitude of Taylor Heineke, the overlooking of accountability for the coaching staff of this roster, the lack of leadership that we were sold that exists and we have here with Ron Rivera is all fraudulent. It's all fraudulent.
Con Rivera. Get him out of here.
We're gonna have to hashtag it because they always steal our our mantras anyway. But though,
and we're gonna be cool tomorrow when the show come on. We just had to get this off today.
It's
gonna be back to your regular scheduled program.
Yeah, you know how we go, dog. Had to get them rounds out. What are you gonna say, Aaron?
Nah.
Yeah,
I don't even root for these Bammers, dog. But they had me hot yesterday.
Yeah, dog. I was half watching the game, half doing something else, and every time I look back, the Dallas Cowboys were scoring another touchdown, dog. So I just, had me hot, dog. Had me hot. Follows at OSS 980, other side of sports. We back on here tomorrow. We're gonna get back into it, talk some other stuff. We're gonna talk about some other teams up the way. Some news. Daniel Jones
coming back intact. It's amazing out here, dog. It's amazing.
No, that just kind of just further cements the point that, dog, these teams, people think that the Washington football team is like this like
outlier.
This unicorn franchise that had. We're gonna get into it though. We're gonna get into it tomorrow. Please follow us, join us. It's your boy Laws, Aaron signing out OSS. Peace.